Listening Part 1 Test 1. Now turn to Part 1. In this part, you will hear 8 short announcements or instructions. There is one question for each announcement or instruction. For each question, choose the right answer A, B, C or D. Then, on the answer sheet, find the number of the question and fill in the space that corresponds to the letter of the answer that you have chosen. We are ready to start. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 8. Now, listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 8. Question 1.
Have you seen the TV guide?
Isn't it on top of the television? I had it when I was watching the film last night.
I expect you left it by your chair then. Here it is under the cushion where nobody can find it. You should put it back in its place by the telephone. Then we'd all know where it is.
Question 2.
I'm going to see Tracy in hospital, but I can't think of what to take her. People always take flowers.
So she have lots already for sure. I always think it's nice to have something to read myself. But as Tracy's got her Walkman with her, what about something to listen to?
What a good idea. It's better than taking sweets, certainly, because I know she's on a special diet while she is in hospital.
Question 3.
Hi, how was your holiday?
Great, really good windsurfing and sailing. You know how much I enjoy them. And horse riding. I really want to go again now I've tried it. And the swimming pool was wonderful, too much warmer than the one I usually swim in. Holidays are just too short.
Question 4.
Was the roof of your house all right after the storm, Anna? I saw a workman there with a ladder today.
I'd had the roof repaired recently, so that wasn't a problem. The workman was putting some new glass in an upstairs window. I think a branch from a tree broke it when it fell off in the wind. I was quite lucky it didn't damage my car, which was parked right under the tree.
Question 5.
My boss has invited me to dinner at his house tomorrow night, but I don't know what sort of present I should take.
I suppose flowers are best, but it's not a good time of year for them and people always take chocolates. That's really boring. What about a plant?
I think I'd be happier with the boring chocolates than with a plant actually, but thanks for the ideas, anyway.
Question 6.
We mustn't forget to send Mum a postcard. How about this one with a picture of a castle?
Well, it's nice, but it's not where we're actually staying. What about a view of the beach in town instead? Or perhaps one of the garden pictures if you think she'd prefer it. Look at the cottage and all the flowers.
I think your first idea was better. We could put a cross to show where we're staying.
Right then, let's do that.
Question 7.
So, we've got 3 hours free. Shall we go to an exhibition? What do you think?
Well, there's an exhibition of photographs at the City Museum, or there's a sculpture exhibition at the Art Gallery, which is meant to be good.
Oh, sculpture's boring. Let's go to the museum. I like photos and we haven't been there since last year when they had that really interesting exhibition of clothes. Do you remember?
Okay, I can go and see the sculptures another day.
Question 8.
I'm off now. Mom, I'm going to meet Ben at the tennis club because he's bought some new handlebars for his bike, and he wants me to help him put them on, and I've got to go to the library to take my books back sometime today too.
Well, do that before you start work on the bike because it isn't open this afternoon.
Okay, and we're going to play tennis after we've done the bike, so I won't see you until supper this evening. Bye.
Listening Part 2. In this part, you will hear one conversation. The conversation will not be repeated. There are 12 questions for each conversation. For each question, choose the correct answer A, B, C, or D. We are ready to start. First, you have some time to look at questions 9 to 20. Now listen carefully and answer questions 9 to 20. Conversation 1.
It can be very difficult when you're having a hard time at school. Who can you talk to? Where can you go to find help? Today I'm speaking to Grace, who had a very hard time at school. She's here today to talk about how she dealt with it and how she's helping people now. Hi, Grace. Thanks for coming on the show.
It's nice to be here.
So can you tell us a little bit about the Text a Friend service?
Yes, it's a special text help service for students who are having a hard time. I think that school can be very difficult sometimes, and it's hard to know who to talk to and where to go for help. So I started the Text a Friend idea for students with problems like these. Students who are having problems text a special number, and a student will text them back. Then they will meet and talk about the student's problems.
Why did you start the Text a Friend service?
Well, a year ago, I was having a really hard time at school. I was having a lot of problems, and I wasn't finding them very easy to deal with. It all started when I fell out with my best friend. Then I started to get really bad grades in all my tests. I wasn't getting on very well with my mum and dad at the time, so I couldn't speak to them either. I just didn't know what to do.
So what did you do?
Well, in the end, a classmate helped me. It was someone I didn't know very well, but she could see I was feeling really upset and unhappy. She spent a lot of time with me and listened to all my problems. We spoke about what I could do to make things better. After that, I wanted to help people who were having problems like me. I wanted them to know that there were people who could help them.
And can anyone use this service?
Yes, absolutely anyone. Students of all ages can have problems. It doesn't matter if you're new to a school or if you've been there for years. People can have problems at any time.
I think some of our listeners might want to start their own Text a Friend service in schools after listening to you, Grace.
I certainly hope so.
Listening part 3. Questions 21 to 35. In this part you will hear one talk or lecture. The talk or lecture will not be repeated. There are 15 questions for each talk or lecture. For each question, choose the right answer A, B, C or D. Talk 1 questions 21 to 35. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 35. Now listen carefully and answer questions 21 to 35.
It's important to choose when to go to Africa. It's a huge continent with different weather systems within it. In Zambia, where I've just returned from, you need to think about what time of year to go. I didn't want to go when it's too hot, because I knew I'd just stay in the shade and do very little. But their winter, May till September, when I went, is quite pleasant, with warm days, although you do have to remember it gets really cold at night. You should probably avoid the rainy season, because it does limit what you can do. It's a big country, and there are different ways to get around it. I suppose the most typical is the safari car, specially equipped to cross rough land and protect away from certain animals. I took a flight in a microplane on my first day to try and get a sense of the land overall, but I didn't feel in contact with it. That's why I was pleased to go on several walks with guides after that. The first walk I went on was brilliant. It's quite flat, so it wasn't hard. We followed the footprints of big animals and listened to the strange noise of the hippopotamus until we came to the river. Suddenly and unexpectedly, there was a lizard, but I thought it was a crocodile at first. It was so big, and we saw lots of other great things. At one point, we disturbed a herd of zebras, and they ran off, kicking up clouds of dust and drumming on the ground. It was lovely when we came across a baby elephant drinking from a watering hole. I think I could have touched him. There were also the most amazing birds, and I was glad I'd brought my binoculars. As I say, It's quite flat, so you can walk a long way without getting too tired. I think retired people really should get out there and make the most of it. They often can manage to take nice long holidays, which young people may not have the time or money. Although children would love the animals, you might want to wait till they're a bit older. But if you can go, go. I've got some special memories of what I saw, like the sun coming up at dawn, and, like everybody I guess, I'll always remember that feeling of so much space, in all directions. Amazing. Okay. Details are on our website, and there are links too.